The springtime of youth never ends. Such a sad setup to even more sad events. So with this week's chapter, once again, I feel as though definitely Kishimoto's diving into his own life, his own personal life, and what's been going on recently with the passing of his father. And really, it's just him coping with it, I feel as though, because I feel as though, again, with this week's chapter, it kind of played off into not only learning a little bit more about Guy Sensei and setting up for what's to come, but I also feel as though definitely this is Kishimoto just kind of coping with the recent passing of his father, because you get a little bit more of those father-son times. We get the introduction in this chapter to Guy Sensei's father, and kind of the origin of where all of his quirkiness and crazy zany shit comes from. Dai pretty much was his father, Might Dai. And in this week's chapter, I feel as though definitely it seems as though, yeah, Guy is gonna die, because usually this is how Kishimoto does it. He formats it like this. You get the backstory, you get a flashback or two set up, and it's pretty much gonna be like some sort of farewell. And I feel as though with this week's chapter, while Dai kind of did come a little bit out of nowhere, because first of all, we're like 668 chapters in, and we just now get mention of him, and it also felt a little bit weird with Minato saying, yeah, your father wouldn't have wanted this either. Like, since when did you know his father, or talk about his father, or he was even mentioned for that matter? But nonetheless, a little bit of dialogue set up for what we get with this flashback, and it's a flashback that we've never seen before, pretty much the origins of Guy Sensei and where all the craziness came from. And I wish, in a way, Rock Lee would have been his son, because, we never seen Rock Lee's parents or anything like that, and I feel as though it would have been perfect from grandfather to father to son if Rock Lee was indeed Guy Sensei's son. I wish it would have been along the lines of that, because it just fits so perfectly. Maybe his editor, back in the day, Kishimoto's editor said, nah, you can't have him as father and son or something like that, because it just fits so perfect. Everything, the ideals, everything that Guy Sensei stands for has been passed down to Rock Lee, and I feel as though it goes perfect with the way, this chapter was. But regardless of what, any of that stuff, I feel as though it was very sad and very interesting at the same time, of the backstory of pretty much how Dai, he never let anyone put him down, and anytime people were making fun of him, he was like, right, thanks for the support and stuff like that. And that just kind of goes to show a lesson that you can use in everyday life. When people got shit to say about you, they talk shit about you, they say, you're this, you're that, they just try to put you down, instead of saying, oh, all that really hurt my feelings, or even being confrontational with what Guy tried to do with those two people, because you saw a guy got his head busted in. Just laugh it off. Sometimes it's better to just say, yeah, maybe in your mind you could think, go fuck yourself. Why bother creating confrontation with people that are just trying to get a rise out of you? I really respected Dai from the backstory we got. It was very interesting, because he was pretty much called, like, they made fun of him and calling him the Eternal Genin, because he never passed the Genin stage, and with all the hard work and everything, that's kind of like a downer in a way. But you could kind of see how the generations passed on from, like, he was a Genin and he really didn't go anywhere with it, and then you got his son, Guy Sensei, which ultimately becomes a lot more than a Genin, a Jonin, and Rock Lee will probably be even beyond that. And that's just, once again, the theme of Naruto with, as the generations pass, people keep getting better, people getting stronger, and overall, just things progress in a more positive and more, benefiting manner. And is it just me, or did anybody catch that when Dai was talking about selfish people and basically saying they're cat-like? Was he basically referring to people that are selfish as pussies? I was just thinking to myself, like, yo, this old man was pretty fucking dope. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna laugh, and I'm gonna, like, laugh it off or whatever, but y'all motherfuckers are some pussies. Just imagine a milk carton of him with a big ass smile. Y'all some pussies. I definitely would have liked a little bit more of a mention of any of this with, Guy Sensei's father passing at the hands of the 7 legendary swordsmen, and it also kind of made me a little bit worried and a little bit skeptical as far as the 8 gates go, because you see that he uses it, and again, you gotta look at Dai Sensei, which I'm gonna call him Dai Sensei because I keep on being tempted to call him Dai Sensei, so I'll either call him Dai or Dai Sensei, but he used that technique, the 8th gate, against the 7 legendary swordsmen, and this definitely, you could tell, happened after the events of Kakashi Gaiden, because at this point, Guy is in his team with the 3 people, and he's a little bit older, so at the very least, when he died, this happened after the events of Kakashi Gaiden. I don't know if it was after Rin's death, maybe around there, but you could see he's around that age or whatnot. And the thing about it is that apparently the technique wasn't strong enough to even kill one of the 7 swordsmen. He pretty much could only use it to block off and fend off the swordsman while, Guy and his team got away and, they went to safety or whatever. But if this technique is supposed to be so strong that it just gives you the abilities beyond a village leader, then how come he wasn't able to take on at least one, or take out at least one of the 7 legendary swordsmen, if this is supposed to be this technique that just grants you all this power and all this ability? So it definitely has me a little bit worried, because if he couldn't take out one of the legendary swordsmen, then how is Guy going to be able to take on Madara? Because let's be clear about this. While we all love Guy and Guy is beast as ever, Madara is on a whole different level. Like, he is still even giving that smug, motherfucker, whatever you throw at me, I'm Madara type of face right now. Although he did look a little bit worried towards the end of the last panel or so. Again, it would have been nice if we got a little bit more mention of this prior to this. Maybe some foreshadowing of this is how Guy Sensei's father died, or even a mention for that matter, because as far as I'm aware, this was the first time that Guy has ever even been mentioned. Although he does remind me of this ninja from a filler, where he was also like a really old man, and he was pretty much a eternal Genin as well. So maybe there's some sort of relation there. Maybe that's Guy's father or some shit like that. That'd be a little bit weird. And it's interesting that canon material from the manga kind of makes me go back a little bit into the recent filler we've been having, Kakashi Anbu filler arc, where it's a possibility that Guy's father passing maybe might have helped Kakashi get over his depression, because after the events of, you know, him, Kakashi Gaiden, and then killing Rin, Kakashi was in a slump and he was depressed. And based on the events of this, it seems as though this death of Dai, you know, Guy's father, happened after, at the very least, the events of Kakashi Gaiden, maybe even after Rin's death. And I wouldn't be surprised if his father passing kind of helped them to bond and help Kakashi get out of that funk that he was in. They should definitely work that into the filler if they're not going to do it, because it's like, that's a total brilliant idea. Kishimoto just kind of like made a great little connection right there, because, you know, his father passed due to suicide, Kakashi I'm referring to, his teammates all died, and with Guy's person dying, you know, his father, I think that that would make them grow a bond stronger and just help Kakashi get out of that funk. So I thought that that was interesting as well, around the time that seemingly Guy's father passed. And overall with this chapter, I definitely felt as though it was a very good and deep setup in a certain aspect. I would have liked if we would have got a little bit more foreshadowing, and it also makes me a little bit worried that Guy pretty much will do this for nothing, because Madara will come out on top. Because again, if Dai, even though he wasn't as formidable as a ninja as Guy, because Guy was pretty much, you know, he's a Jonin, and this guy never made it out of Genin, how much will this a technique actually do if he wasn't able to even take out one of the 7 legendary swordsmen? And Guy is going up against like the most legendary monster of all time. He's going up against the 10 Tails Jubi Jinchuriki plus Madara plus that Hashirama DNA. So this is going to be one hell of an uphill battle for Guy, and I'm just really hoping that while he does it, it's not completely in vain. Like, I'm not expecting Guy Sensei to end this war, but I'm also expecting some damage to be done, to be had with this technique that he's about to unleash on Madara. And overall, I'm just like, good setup, definitely. A little bit skeptical. I would have loved more foreshadowing, and again, it just makes me worried that this technique won't have what it takes to put down Madara, or at the very least do some severe damage, but we just gotta wait and see. And overall, I definitely felt the emotional vibe of this, and it feels as though, once again, Kishimoto is kind of diving into his own personal pain of recently losing his father, and he's putting it into a very emotional way into the story, and I really enjoyed this chapter. I felt as though it was a good setup. Wasn't the most amazing thing ever, but it was definitely leading into Guy Sensei and probably a farewell within the next chapter or so. But let me know what you guys think. First of all, do you think that this technique, since it wasn't in the past able to help Dai even take out one of the legendary swordsmen, which, by the way, quickly, just want to mention, legendary swordsmen in their younger days, pretty cool shit, but will that be able to take out Madara or even severely hurt him with Guy Sensei using it against him? Because again, Madara is on a whole different league than the legendary swordsman, so it's kind of a iffy situation. Also, did it bother you any that there really wasn't any foreshadowing as to Dai dying during these events with the legendary swordsman, or just him dying in general towards the legendary swordsman? And did you get the emotional vibe with this chapter? Because it really feels as though Guy isn't going to make it out of this. I just don't see it happening, and I think it would be appropriate, the way Kishimoto has set everything up, that he does go out in a blaze of glory, and we're heading into Night Elephant. I just, right now, I feel as though the emotions is too high, too strong. By the way, I'm going to give this chapter of Naruto a 7.5 out of 10. I felt as though it was a good setup. Had a little bit of questions around there, and definitely had me a little bit skeptical about the technique, because it's set up in a manner where it doesn't seem to be the most strongest if it couldn't take out these swordsmen, but you never know. But overall, I feel as though emotional stuff good, and good at setup once again to what seemingly is the farewell to Guy, but yeah. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up once again for Guy, and thumbs up for Dai, because even though he was constantly talked shit about, they put him down, they said this and that, they made fun of his clothing, they made fun of just about everything you could think of. They tried to strip this man down. He never let the haters get to him, and I respect that. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.